Hello, Gemini. This is your June 2020 Mercury Retrograde reading. As mentioned in the introductory video, I strongly feel this particular Mercury retrograde cycle has a lot to do with our emotions, our feelings. We need to reconcile them. We need to get back into a place where we can just be happy and carefree and jovial and feel like we can get out there and have that freedom that is needed. I think the first 6 months of this year, as everybody knows, it's been incredibly challenging for all of us. We've been stuck at home or we've been isolated. There's just so much that's going on in the world. It's been difficult to really have an opportunity to feel like ourselves. Now, most people out there, when they think Mercury retrograde, they think, oh no, the computer's going to stop working, or my phone's going to break, or emails are going to get lost, or my communication with my friends and my loved ones is going to get all jumbled up, or my flight's going to get delayed. We just think about all these different problems that come up. But I also believe there's a huge opportunity for us to grow throughout these cycles as well. I think that we can emerge feeling more like ourselves and get rid of some stuff and let some stuff go that no longer serves us. So for you guys, I'm going to use this Gilded Reverie Lenormand deck. It's my favorite one by far. One thing to note about me is I don't necessarily read these traditionally. I'm the type that will modify definitions and change things up depending on what I'm feeling intuitively as I go through it. And for anyone out there who dabbles in this or works in this type of industry, I would encourage you to consider doing the same. A lot of rules and regulations and stipulations and such are put around all of this, saying you can only do it in a certain way. But to me, it's really, really counterintuitive for any of us to follow a very, very specific structure when it comes to this type of work. Basically, you got to trust your gut. So I'm going to shuffle these up here a little bit. Ooh, these are loud. And then we'll see what comes out here for you. Now, keep in mind, this is not a predictive reading. This is something that's just based a little bit more on helping you navigate through this cycle, come out feeling a little bit better, and working with some different emotions inside of you. Now, your overall theme here is the heart, the fish, and the key. The heart has a lot to do with, obviously, our emotions, our feelings, what we're feeling inside of our heart, how things are going. The fish here talks about, well, sometimes it usually talks about money, but in this particular instance, it's about looking in deep or deep diving or the deep connections that are in our life. That's letting you know over here at the end with the key, this stuff is going to be critical to the overall reading. The key sort of helps to emphasize the cards that come after it or come before it, depending on the context of the specific reading. And then up here at the top, we have the Moon card. The Moon card is definitely all about your emotions, your feelings. It's about your reputation. It's about any creative ventures that you've partaken in and different things that you've done. And then down here at the bottom, we have the Woman card. Now, for the sake of this reading, whether you're a male or a female or non-binary or however you identify, this is just going to be you down here because this isn't a specific reading. It's something that's a little bit more generalized for everyone. Now we're going to throw a few more down here. I first learned about this particular layout from another reader. Her name is Layla, the Lenormand reader. I find her to be incredibly gifted. Now I do read things differently than she does, but I think we all, again, have to sort of develop our own method of doing things. Now, when we look at this box that surrounds it, that sort of lets us know about different forces acting down on us during this period, or different aspects that we need to focus on specifically to reach our end goal. And we have the Sun, which the Sun is always a great card. That's things just really, really shining for us. It's feeling really, really good. And sometimes it also points out things that, require a little bit more attention. The Mouse is definitely not a great card. It's those little annoying things that can eat away at you, that'll eat away inside of you, that if you let them go on for too long, they eventually reach a point where, it's going to turn into a lot bigger of an issue, and it's going to start affecting you in a lot bigger of a way, where it's going to take basically a lot longer for you to snap out of any type of funk or get back into a state where you genuinely feel like yourself. And then we have the Bear. Sometimes the Bear is like a mom type card. Sometimes it's a boss. But when I see the Bear down here, I see two different definitions with it. To me, it sort of comes through as sort of like protection. It also comes through as sort of our spiritual self in this particular reading. And then we have the tower. The tower sometimes is just about buildings or structures, but I would see this more as sort of a sense of isolation or a time where we may need to separate ourselves a little bit longer from the people in our lives in order to get ourselves into a really, really good spot. The nice part about what I'm seeing here with this is I don't think it's going to take very long for you guys to jump in and get to a spot where you're feeling really, really good. So when we look at this box, we see the sun, the mouse, the bear, and the tower. So that would say, success, feeling bright, feeling vibrant has been eaten away at a little bit. It's affecting you at the soul level. And it has a lot to do with just feeling isolated and feeling like you can't go out and have that freedom that is absolutely necessary. So that's really what this whole thing is going to be about, because the overall theme here, again, is these fish, which is diving in. We don't want to feel like we're underwater. We don't want to feel trapped, basically. So let's look at some of the diagonals that are in here as well. We see the sun, the fish, and the bear. I would see that as a lot of success for more of like a deep dive into yourself. Let's not think of the drowning aspect here. And that's going to be beneficial for your soul. But then when you also look at the other side of it, you have the tower, the fish, and the mice. Now, the tower and the fish, this isolated behavior may have caused you to sink down a little bit, feel a little bit lower, and it's eating away at you. It's affecting your soul. And when you see the mouse and the key together like that, it really depends on how you want to construe it. But this is letting me know that these issues right here can turn into something a lot bigger unless you start addressing them basically right now. Because we want to get to a point where our hearts are in good order, the sun's shining on it, our emotions are in really good order. We don't have to worry about this mouse over here anymore. And the other part of this sun here, it's also shining down on this tower. To me, that's kind of pointing out that some of this behavior where we're stuck, we feel like we can't go out, we feel like we can't go do things, may be a contributor to what's drowning us a little bit and what's eating away at us a little bit. So if you have an opportunity to get out there and do something different, I would definitely encourage you to consider doing that. I'm not sure what the rules are like in your area, but what's important is that you change things up a little bit. Even if you just get out there and go for a drive, or drive to a park, or anything that really works for you specifically, so you can have that sense of freedom. Now, the other nice thing about the fish here too is sometimes that means other connections that are in your life. Maybe you felt a little bit cut off from them with the mouse right next to the fish. It's a good time to get back in communication with those people. Look for different ways that you can do that that's safe in your area, that'll work out for you, because I strongly feel that's going to create this emotional wellness that you need. This whole theme to me really, really talks about the need to connect. I think that it's necessary for you to connect at the heart level with other people in your life. The more I look at this fish, it's had like 3 or 4 different meanings so far. I think this is sort of symbolic of the people in your life that are important to you. You could even be emotional about these connections that are in your life, because it's right up on top of our person down here, creating some anxiety, but ultimately what you crave is the success here. So definitely connect with the other people that are in your life. Find a way to do it. Realize that it's okay and that it's safe to do it. And one other thing that's kind of interesting here too is sometimes the bear talks a lot about nutrition. It has to do with our diet, what we're eating, whether or not we're being healthy. And I think some of the behavior that's been going on, I don't know if you're a stress eater. I'm a stress eater. But it's basically saying that you could be nibbling away at things, and that could be affecting your overall nutrition a little bit too. Because when I see the key next to it, that's telling me that probably needs to be a focus during this period too. I think it's a really good time to start maybe a new wellness regimen. Think about things and goals that you basically want to accomplish. Start going after them, start doing them. They always say, oh no, you can't start anything new during Mercury retrograde. I mean, that's the stuff I honestly don't buy into. I think that's, going a little bit overboard, because we've all, at the end of the day, been isolated too much. But pay attention to your nutrition. Make sure you're getting enough protein based on your specific dietary needs too. I find that to be relevant. Now let's look at some of the diagonals that are in here as well. This emotions up here, this creativity as well, I feel that some of that's been taken away. That showing is key. This is going to be another key focus area for this particular period. I think it's going to relate to the connections in your life. That much is clear to me. But address that as well during this period just to make sure that this doesn't grow into a bigger problem. If you've been holding things in or harboring difficult feelings or just basically putting on that big, wide, happy, smiley face, even when you're not feeling the best, it's a good time to sort of just be honest with yourself and ask yourself how you're really feeling. I believe when you do that, it's a lot easier to come to terms with things and reconcile those challenges quickly. And then we also have the key, the bear, and the person. So with the key and the bear together, again, I think that has something to do with nutrition. But I also feel it's important to get back in touch with your spiritual nature as well. You may have stepped away from it for a while with all the different stress that's going on, but I genuinely feel once you dive back into that particular aspect of yourself, I think that's going to help you come out of this funk a little bit better too. And then we also have the woman, well, the person, the tower, and the heart. Now, this is telling me, even though I'm saying, hey, you know what, go connect, I still think you should connect. I still think there might be a period here where, your heart's feeling a little bit lonely. If you do feel that, I think that you need to address it. And I think that's the time for you to get in here and connect with the people in your network. Find a way to do something together just so you're not stuck in your head. It doesn't matter what you do. Even if you're not feeling great about yourself right now, maybe you let things slip a little bit during the last several months, still find a way to get out of that a little bit more and connect with people so you don't have these lonely feelings. But ultimately, what we reach here by connecting with other people, by watching our nutrition, by creating maybe the idea of a new wellness regimen, by being honest with ourselves throughout this period. Even if you need to document things, do that, write them down, make some goals, let yourself know these are the things that I want to work on to get back to having that awesome oomph that I normally carry around with me. You can ultimately get to the spot where we have heart, sun, and moon. And this is a beautiful combination. I mean, this is the sun's just shining right on your heart. The sun's also shining on your emotions. You'll have all of this incredible emotional wellness at the end of the period as long as you follow the path. Again, I feel it has to do with your connections. I feel it has to do with your nutrition. I think there may be too much isolation and such that's going on here too. Just be honest with yourself. And I think once you do and you consider some of these ideas, I strongly feel you're going to come out of this period feeling more exuberant again, feeling more alive, feeling more passionate, and ready to tackle the last bit of this year. I think we'll have about 5 months left, but I think these last 5 months of 2020 are really, really going to be the opportunity for all of us to shine. I feel this whole 2020 in general has sort of been about alignment. It's been about getting us on the right path to renewal, or getting us on the proper path for us to follow the dreams and goals that we have for ourselves. And I really strongly feel you're going to be able to do this easily, Gemini, during this period. Just follow these few simple steps, and I think that you're going to come out feeling a lot stronger. And if you have any other ideas, or maybe you see something in this spread that I'm not noticing right off the get-go, please feel free to leave a comment. I'm still fairly new to this. Again, my reading style is a little bit different when it comes to sort of a navigation type reading, but I definitely look forward to doing more of these, and I wish you all the best during this upcoming cycle.